What if history as we know it is only half the story? What if the greatest secrets of humanity are not locked in books, but buried beneath dust, sealed in stone, and whispered through myth? From swords too big for any man, to eggs that may hide the secrets of Atlantis. These are the 17 most ancient and mysterious discoveries that challenge what we know about our past. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe, because what you're about to see will have you questioning reality itself. Let's unravel the forgotten truths. Legends speak of 15-foot-tall samurai warriors roaming Japan over 1,000 years ago. This idea may sound mythical, until you examine Japan's Norimitsu Odachi, the largest traditional Japanese sword ever forged. The blade measures approximately 12.3 feet and weighs around 14.5 kilograms. Forged in 1447 by master smith Norimitsu Osafune, the Odachi was made in one solid piece and lay undisturbed until it was polished in 1992 after centuries of storage. Experts emphasize that using such a sword in combat would have been virtually impossible, exhausting even the strongest warrior in moments. Consequently, many now believe the Norimitsu Odachi was intended as a ceremonial offering to a Shinto shrine, meant to showcase divine craftsmanship rather than battle readiness. Nevertheless, speculation persists. To many online observers and enthusiasts, incorporating the idea of a 15-foot samurai warrior seems a fitting explanation for this weapon's scale. Whether symbolic or literal, the Norimitsu Odachi remains a powerful intersection between myth, physical reality, and cultural memory. At El Castillo cave in northern Spain, paleontologists rediscovered a lower jaw fragment from a 5-year-old child, excavated in 1912 but only recently reanalyzed. Radiocarbon dating places the individual in the Gravettian period, about 27,000 years ago, coinciding with major Paleolithic cave art activity in the region. Detailed examination revealed the mandibular bone had sharp cut marks, including incisions consistent with the removal of the tongue, suggesting the child was either ritually dismembered or cannibalized post-mortem. Crucially, isotope analysis indicates no sign of starvation or malnutrition, ruling out survival cannibalism and pointing instead to ritual or symbolic violence. This case stands alongside other disturbing examples, such as skull cup use at Gough's Cave in England, approximately 14,700 years ago, and represents one of the best documented instances of possible symbolic cannibalism in Upper Paleolithic Europe. During highway construction in Britain, archaeologists came across a 2,500-year-old comb carved from a fragment of human skull. Approximately 5 centimeters long, the comb sports tooth-like projections and cut marks consistent with intentional shaping. It's unlikely it was used for hair. Scholars suggest it may have served as a pendant or power object, perhaps worn by an Iron Age warrior or shaman as a trophy or spiritual token. Such bone carvings appear in ritual contexts across Europe, often linked to identity, status, or ancestral reverence. Though the skull comb's exact purpose remains unknown, it reflects a compelling practice in which death and ceremonial symbolism were intertwined, far more meaningful than simple utility. Conventional maps show the Great Pyramid of Giza as having 4 flat faces, but aerial photography and geometric analysis have revealed each face is slightly concave, dividing them into 8 subtly inward-angled sections. Egyptologist I.E.S. Edwards described the effect. The packing blocks were laid so that they sloped slightly inward towards the center of each course. A noticeable depression runs down the middle of each face, a design unseen in other pyramids. Linders Petrie observed what he called dips in the core masonry, suggesting intentional structural engineering rather than erosion. Geometric modeling indicates blocks were laid with specific slopes favoring a scheme using simple unit fractions, for example 1/5, allowing precise and repeatable engineering. The result? Enhanced structural stability, using inward pressure to compress the inner core over millennia. Visible only from high-altitude angles or during equinox sunlight, the octagonal effect adds an additional layer of hidden meaning and precision to this enduring wonder. In 2023, scientists announced the analysis of a pre-Christian burial in Tsukumo Shell Mound Cemetery, Japan, identifying it as the oldest known shark attack victim, dating back to around 1370 BC. The skeleton bears roughly 790 bite marks with sharp edges, especially on the left arm and legs, indicating attempts at defense during a violent oceanic attack. Researchers cannot yet confirm if the man was fishing, swimming, or attacked unexpectedly. but the location and mark patterns suggest predation rather than ritual or warfare. His remains were buried alongside community members, suggesting no stigma in death, despite its violent cause. The case serves as vivid evidence of ancient humans' deep fear of, and vulnerability to, the ocean's dangers, a reminder that our ancestors faced threats not only on land but also in the sea. From Marco Polo's 13th century travels describing 30 pace-long serpentine beasts in China, to Beowulf's fiery dragon, stories of dragons span continents and centuries. Some historians suggest these myths may have originated from sightings of fossilized dinosaur bones or rare large reptiles misinterpreted as living dragons. Greek historian Strabo, around 2,000 years ago, described bat-winged reptiles in India capable of spitting corrosive fluid that could strip flesh, raising the possibility of giant reptilian or venomous creatures once believed to be dragons. Indeed, medieval Chinese medical texts and traditional remedies sometimes reference dragon bones or teeth as real objects with healing power. Combined with reports of high-altitude, glowing-eyed creatures and cave-dwelling snake-like monsters, myths of dragons may preserve distorted echoes of actual encounters, or symbolic imagery rooted in real biology. Although modern biology has never identified fire-breathing dragons, the persistence and global nature of dragon myths across cultures suggest underlying kernels of experience, whether fossil discovery, reptilian horror, or symbolic archetype, that ancient societies encoded into their legends. In 2016, archaeologists working beneath the remnants of an ancient Roman church in Austria made a discovery that stunned historians: a 1,500-year-old ivory Christian reliquary box. Its significance wasn't only due to its age or material, ivory was an extremely precious resource, but also because of its sheer rarity, with only about 40 such examples known worldwide. But what truly set this piece apart was its astonishing artwork. It portrayed Christ not in the usual serene divine posture, but dramatically ascending to heaven in a chariot drawn by horses. This depiction, blending Christian theology with Greco-Roman visual motifs, is almost unheard of in early Christian art. Even more compelling, scholars believe the box may have held relics of the true cross, the very wood upon which Christ was crucified, turning it from a beautiful artifact into a potential vessel of the holiest material in Christian history. In the arid sands of Sudan, deep within an ancient Nubian burial site, researchers discovered something as fragile as it was profound. An ostrich egg, more than 6,500 among the etchings, are pyramid-like shapes strikingly similar to those at Giza, yet this egg predates those famous Egyptian monuments by over 2 millennia. Equally strange are the concentric rings surrounding the egg, which eerily mirror Plato's description of the lost city of Atlantis. Was this an early symbolic map of forgotten lands? Could it represent ancient knowledge far predating recorded history? For some, this egg is more than an ornament. It's a miniature relic, possibly encoding a worldview lost to time. In the quiet rural landscapes of Devon and Dore, England, 2 massive megalithic structures lay hidden in plain sight, until independent researcher Alan Endicott identified them as prehistoric stone circles. Named Methal and Irishman's Wall, these ancient sites rival the fame and scale of Stonehenge, yet were completely undocumented by mainstream archaeology until recently. Dating back at least 5,000 years, they suggest that a vast and sophisticated Neolithic network once stretched across the British Isles. These sites raise powerful questions. Did these early builders share astronomical knowledge? Did they communicate across great distances? The sheer scale and alignment of the stones hint at engineering capabilities and cultural depth that force us to reconsider what ancient Britons truly knew, and what they left behind in stone. Floating like a forgotten memory in the Venetian lagoon, the island of Poveglia is draped in shadow. First used as a quarantine station during plague outbreaks, it later became the site of a 20th century psychiatric asylum, a place now synonymous with death and despair. According to chilling legends, cruel doctors performed gruesome experiments there, and mass graves beneath the soil hold the remains of tens of thousands. Local fishermen reportedly refused to cast their nets near the island, claiming spirits still linger in the fog. Attempts to develop the land into a luxury resort have repeatedly failed, as if the island itself resists disturbance. Poveglia remains abandoned, a silent, haunted testament to human suffering and a place few dare approach. In 2000, scientists discovered the Visby lens on the island of Gotland, a perfectly crafted optical lens from the Viking era, predating the telescope by 600 years. This shows Vikings had advanced knowledge of optics, possibly inherited from Byzantium. These technological marvels really challenged the belief that Vikings were just raiders. They may have been preservers of ancient science. In Lindu National Park, hundreds of massive stone jars called Calamba remain an unsolved mystery. Some believe they were used for burials or mineral processing, while others suggest they were built by an unknown ancient civilization. The jars feature perfectly parallel engravings and strange figures that might indicate advanced technology or forgotten ritual practices. In Israel's Tinshemet cave, archaeologists discovered one of the oldest known burial sites in the world, dating to around 100,000 years ago. The remains of 5 early humans, including 2 nearly complete skeletons and 3 skulls, were intentionally placed in fetal positions alongside symbolic items such as basalt stones, animal bones, and ochre pigment. These ritual burials offer some of the earliest evidence of symbolic behavior and spiritual life among humans or their ancestors, challenging the notion that complex ritual only emerged much later. Near Brno, in the Czech Republic, archaeologists uncovered fragments of an extraordinary bronze chest armor dating from about 1600 to 1200 BC, roughly the era of the Trojan War. The intricately decorated pieces appear to have been ritually deposited and belong to elite warriors. This rare find completely rewrites what we know about Bronze Age military culture in Central Europe, and reveals a level of craftsmanship and ritual practice previously unknown for the region. Within Spain's famed treasure of Villena, thought to date to around 3,000 years ago, researchers identified a bracelet and hemisphere ornament made from meteoritic iron, extraterrestrial material scarcely used by ancient artisans. The high nickel content confirms the metal came from meteorites. This extraordinary find implies early Iberian cultures recognized and intentionally worked with celestial metal long before the Iron Age proper began. Excavations at the Stone Age site Bahra 1 in Kuwait uncovered small statues with elongated skulls and lizard-like features dating to around 7,000 years ago. The artifacts associated with the Ubaid culture bear striking resemblance to modern alien imagery. Their presence so early in Mesopotamian prehistory and their unusual morphology make this one of the most unsettling and enigmatic sculptural traditions discovered in the Gulf region to date. Along Georgia's Bashplemi Lake, archaeologists recovered a basalt tablet inscribed with a previously unknown writing system. At least 39 unique characters across 7 lines. Dated to the late Bronze or early Iron Age, the language and symbols remain undeciphered. It may reflect a lost mythological or political tradition in the Caucasus region. As of now, it stands as one of the most mysterious early writing systems yet discovered. From giant warriors and sacred relics, to eggs that might map Atlantis and islands too cursed to reclaim, our world is far stranger than it seems. Which mystery shocked you the most? Tell us in the comments. And if you think we've reached the end of ancient secrets, think again.